I know. Lockdown. It's time for drinks anyway. I've got to go. Drinks with Kate, yeah. Yeah, it's back. Bigger and better than ever. See ya. Bye. Hi, guys. Oh, goodness. Hello, Joan and Craig and Karen. Hello, Shell and Andrew. How you going? G'day, Matt and Renee. Lovely to see you. Zach and Jack. Good to see you. And Hannah. Lovely to see you. Hi, Cotty and John. And hello, Emily. Hello, hello, hello. Angela. Yay. Hello, Kay. How you doing? Well, this is all feeling very horribly familiar. It's lovely to be here with you guys. It's the one bright light in this lockdown madness that we seem to find ourselves in. Hello, Daryl and Sue. Glad you're enjoying the 2019 already. Sam and Paul back again. Yay. See, when you've got nothing else to do, you might as well join Kate for Drinks with Kate. Hello, Rob and Deb. How you doing? Yes, correct, Renee. I was just going to say that. Steve and Linda, hello. It is no kids sport. I'm sure the kids are maybe a little bit more disappointed about it than you are. Oh, Nigel, hello. How you going? Just turn my phone on to silent. Nigel's texting me. Hello. Yeah, so here we go again. Hello. Is it Greg and Greg? Hello. I think Greg Donnelly, is that Greg Donnelly typing or Greg Donnelly and somebody else? Hello. Sorry, sometimes there's so many wonderful people, and when my head's all full of talking about the wines, then getting everyone's names right is always a bit of a challenge. Everyone who knows me knows that that's not one of my strongest suits. But anyway, how lovely to see you all. I hope you've had an opportunity, those of you who are in Melbourne, to get out and at least get some sunshine on your faces today, because I believe the storm's coming across tonight and it's going to be crummy weather for the rest of the weekend. Hello, Michael. It's great to be in lockdown again. Yes. Well, thank you. I enjoy being a highlight. I wish that there were more highlights in our lives at the moment. Hello, Sarah. How are you going? Oh, Greg and Donna. Thank you, Donna. Lovely to see you. So, yes, everyone say hello to each other, because we haven't seen each other for a little while for various reasons. We've been busy. We've been having a life. Polly's here, just curled up on the sofa there. Polly's a bit sad because she's going to the vets tomorrow. She's got a grass seed that won't come out. So we're having a bit of exploratory surgery there and a teeth clean at the same time. So that's about as exciting as my life gets, which is why it's very exciting to be having a glass or two of Robinson Vineyard Pinot Noir 2019 with you guys. Now, before I open this, I've got to say that this is an even more specially exclusive tasting than expected. Jill, your phone's ringing in here. Everyone's got slack during lockdown, leaving phones lying around. Anyway, little crickets in the background. It's all good. Oh, hi, Jeff. How you going? Good to see you. Yes, so we were supposed to be releasing this wine to the general public next weekend, Queen's Birthday weekend, on the Saturday. Now, the Mornington Peninsula Winter Wine Weekend has been postponed. It hasn't been cancelled. It's been postponed. I think it was a sensible thing to do even before the announcement yesterday, was it? But even if we come out of lockdown before Queen's Birthday weekend, we've been told in no uncertain terms by our government that we're not to be travelling around to rural areas, which again gets confusing here on the Mornington Peninsula, because we're rural and people come down here a lot from Melbourne, but we're also part of Metro Melbourne, so, whatever. But no winter wine weekend tasting on Saturday, Queen's Birthday weekend. It'll be happening at the end of July. If you've bought tickets, they'll just transfer across. If you can't come, then you'll get a refund, all that stuff. Hello, Jeff and Sue. Lovely to see you. Nigel, I was going to say that's very confusing, but it's not that confusing. Nigel is Renee. Renee is Nigel. Very easy. Also, more sad news that obviously mushroom tours were not able to take place last Sunday or this Sunday. We're still not sure. Probably Queen's birthday weekend is probably out as well, but we're just kind of waiting to hear. And also then Cameron's just trying to work out what he's going to do. So if you've got tickets booked for a mushroom tour, he'll be in touch with you. He's got a lot of phone calls to make, so don't stress. He'll sort you out either with a refund or with a new date. We're working through all of that excitement. And, of course, Pinot Palooza didn't happen last week. So I think all of those things coming together make it a very good excuse for us to have a glass of the very beautiful new Robinson Pinot Noir. I hope you guys have all got some in your glass. I'm going to crack that bottle. 2019 Robinson Pinot. Oh, Angela and Simon. Yes, Peter, I've got to say, any one of you who've had deliveries up in Melbourne in the last few weeks, that's my brother Peter who's bringing you wine. So he's joined the family business on a slightly more serious. No, are you there, Pete? Peter and Nina? Maybe you haven't made it yet tonight. But they usually join us too on here. So yes, Peter, thank you. That was an epic effort delivering all those. Funnily enough, when we're in lockdown, people order more wine. I wonder why. I think you all deserve a little treat. Oh, hello, Jeff. Jeff's having sort of a day off today, but he's still with us. So that's awesome. Hello, Jeff. Cheers, everyone. Yes. So Robinson Pinot, we've had a lot of different vintages of Robinson Pinot before. Hang on, I'm going to have a little sip because I think I need it tonight. Might not need it, but I want it anyway. Yum. So we've had Robinson Pinot before. Oh, hi, Pete. Yeah, you're just getting accolades from everyone. Excellent delivering. So just before I start talking about this wine, let's have a little talk about this next box because it's a very exciting box of wine. We're quite excited to have it. Jill's about to come in FaceTiming with my nieces, which will really be fabulous. Oh, chili con carne, Jeff. That is very brave. Anyway, that's okay. I always say if food and wine don't go well together, then just drink the wine and eat the food and then drink the wine again. They don't have to all come together. Mushroom and fake bacon risotto for Andrew and me. Yum. Fantastic, Shell. That sounds ace. In the pressure cooker. Good work. Yes, I bet it does. I've got to say, I can't, I'm still not convinced on the fake meats. I'd rather let the umami of the mushrooms come through, but I totally appreciate that the fake meats these days are very well made and the flavours are really good. So I'm pleased to hear that. So this box marks a little change in, well, not change in direction, just a little tightening of the Drinks with Kate kind of community. What we've done, and if you've got any friends who like to kind of drop in and out of Drinks with Kate, just like to watch it, whatever, oh, Alison, that's lovely. And Sheena, lovely to meet you, Sheena. It's always good to have a bubble friend. What we've decided to do is, as I said to you guys around Christmas time, all of my Drinks with Kate folk qualify to be part of the wine club. So it just makes sense for you guys to be on the wine club mail outs and get all of the offers that the wine club people get. And so merging those two things. Yum, sounds awesome, Cotty. Mushroom risotto with farro, yum. One of the advantages of being in the wine club is that you get first chance to try and buy our single vineyard Pinots and Chardonnays when they're released. And as we go forward, these wines are getting rarer and harder to kind of share out amongst people. And so we're giving smaller allocations to restaurants and select independent retailers out there in the world, which they're not that happy about, but, you know, that's just what we have to do. And we're trying to make sure that you guys get a chance to get these wines in your cellars, in your wine fridges, in your glasses before anybody else so that you don't miss out. Now, there's always going to be a time when maybe you're traveling, remember traveling? We used to do it. We'll do it again, I promise. You're traveling when we do a release and you might miss it and you'll come back to us. And so we're also, something that Jeff and I are working really hard on is making sure that we've got a little bit of a stash of the wines that we hold back for the museum, that we can make sure, again, that our wine club members can access if they missed the release and they're kind of, scrambling to get some wine. In the past, we've sold out, and when we sold out, we've really sold out. And that's very frustrating because we've had people who've bought the wines every year and then missed it, and 6 months later come back and said, I missed the release, can I buy some now? It's like, well, I'm really sorry, it's all sold. So this is the whole point of the wine club, is trying to prioritize our most important customers, who are you. There are some people in the wine club who don't want to be involved with Drinks with Kate, and that's fine as well. And there are probably people who are involved with Drinks with Kate who don't really want to be bothered by us to buy lots of wine from us. So I will reassure you that really membership to the wine club either involves buying a dozen bottles of our estate wine, 6 bottles of our single vineyard wine, or 2 Drinks with Kate packs in a year. So those of you who are avid joiners, then no problem at all, you're part of the gang. If you've got friends who are interested who don't get the emails, because the other thing that we've done is that we've tightened up the email list. So we're just sending to those of you who've said that you're interested in Drinks with Kate. There's a little postcard that went with the box with a little picture of me selecting a bottle in the cellar, I think, and just a little bit of information, Coddy. So the postcard might not have made its way into your box. You didn't miss anything at all because you're already part of the gang. So it's all cool, but we'll get you a postcard next time. Glad you like the postcard. We're going to keep working on that. And just, keeping the information sort of bright. And hopefully down the track, when I get myself organised, when we send you a box, then it will already have some wine and food matching suggestions. It might have some tasting notes for the wines. I think, though, that it's nicer to sort of taste the wines together rather than reading up about them beforehand. Certainly Phase 1 duck merch, Shell, and Peter is working on a Drinks with Kate hoodie as we speak, aren't you, Pete? He did a few designs in his sketchbook last year that I'm encouraging him to turn into the real thing. So I think that would be very, very cool. Now, what's everyone else eating? Yum Pete, eggplant polpette, followed by boscaiolo and bada bing pizzas from Supermaxi. Well, that's what happens when you live just around the corner from Supermaxi. That's awesome. Oh, Shell, good squealing. Emily, you guys, homemade mushroom dip, excellent porcini salted steak and rosti by Kevin. Fantastic work, Kevin. So I think we should have some Drinks with Kate hoodies. We can all wear our hoodies and everyone will know they're part of the gang. I'll be the only one that you'll be able to see, obviously, but I'll know that you're all wearing your hoodies while we're drinking together, and that'll make it even better. I've got a little fruit fly kind of flying around my head. That's why I keep flicking at my face. I'm not going mad, I don't think, at the moment. My father's just wandered in. He's having a glass of Pinot over there with his cat. Polly's asleep. Jill's talking on the phone. It's all going on. It's wonderful. Yes, Nina, hoodies. So Nina, can you just give Peter a little elbow and tell him to get on with the hoodies? That would be awesome, along with all the other important things. Mushroom ragu pasta, Jeff, that sounds delightful. Karen's just sent me a picture of me on her fridge, so that would be nice. They will be good, won't they, Anne? Nice cozy hoodies. We did some for you saw my hoodie a few weeks ago from Vintage, so that was the inspiration for it. Deb, duck jewellery is part of the merch. So the duck jewellery, which you've seen my necklace, I'll have to wear it again next week because I keep forgetting to pop it on. For me, it's more sort of summer jewelry. So in winter, when I've got jumpers on and things, I usually forget. But Linda's got earrings and Jill's got earrings. I've got a necklace. Serena, who used to run our cellar door, who's now in the UK, has got a necklace, and Jeff's got cufflinks. So the jewelry, you need to talk to Linda, who's on the call, but you need to talk to Linda in the office. It's her friend who made the jewelry, and it's all bespoke. So absolutely. You can get some duck jewelry for merch, but it's got to be, at the moment, ordered one at a time, and everyone's just a little bit different. So talk to Linda about that. She's the jewelry girl. All right, so that's enough about merch. I know everyone gets very excited talking about merch. We've been talking for 15 minutes, and I haven't said anything about this wine yet. Greg, mushroom arancini with Robinson Vineyard 2017. Perfect. Oh, you already drank the 19. That's hilarious. That's good. Jeff Quirk, you had the 13 in the cellar. No worries. You're very welcome to. Oh yes, it was Jeff on the. It's not on the link. It was on the Instagram post. Jeff, homemade mushroom pie. Jeff, how delicious. So yes. If anyone there doesn't have the wines and didn't get the link for the box, it's not on the normal shop. You just need to email me or Jeff, so kate@moorooducestate.com.au, and I will send you the secret link, because we are trying a wine that is not available for sale yet, because you guys are wine club members. See how I got back to that finally? Wine club members get to taste the wine first. We're tasting it together first. Was hoping to, well, actually, that's not quite true. There were a few of you at the Wine Club Single Vineyard Pinot Noir lunch back on, I think it was the 16th of May, a couple of weeks ago now, and we tasted all the wines then. But apart from that, you guys are the first people to taste these wines, so very exciting. So let's talk about the wine. Oh, yeah. Jeff Plan, you can talk to Jeff Quirk about the 2013. In a private chat. The 13 is drinking really well at the moment, isn't it, Jeff? I think it was a warm year. In fact, 13 and 19, quite interesting comparison, because both years quite warm. 13 was warm all the way through, whereas the 19, we had quite a... Dad's just popping over to get a little bit of wine. Here you go, Richard. There you go. Thank you. Glug, glug, glug. Yes. 2019 as a vintage was relatively, was quite a nice kind of cool, not cool, but moderate vintage for a lot of the season. And then right at the end of the season, we had this big heat wave, which caused a lot of difficulty, particularly for people in the southern part of the Mornington Peninsula. And the reason for that, and the reason that it wasn't such a huge problem for us, is that because of where we are and the fact that we're a little bit warmer and things ripen a little bit faster, we were basically getting ready and picking the fruit at the time of the heat wave rather than trying to still get the wine ripe. So the hot weather made it quite a sort of scramble to get the fruit in before it got too ripe. And I think we did a very good job with that. And I think that, we were very, very lucky because we didn't have fruit hanging out in the really hot weather. So we didn't get those kind of maybe slightly cooked or slightly pruny flavours that some people might get in a year where the ripening is finished by very, very hot weather. And I really love our 19s, but they were stressful at the time because we had to rush so much to pick all the fruit, and all the fruit came in at once as a result. So we had a whole winery full of fruit that we were cooling and processing and trying to turn into wine all at once. So we almost had to use the bathtubs to ferment wine because we ran out of fermenters, but we managed to get there in the end. And I think the results are really terrific. So you're right. Now who's typing at Joan's house? Anyway, you guys, I totally agree that it's not as earthy as the Robinson sometimes is. It's got, so the 19s for me have this beautiful brightness. Craig, I thought it was you, Craig, but I didn't want to make any assumptions. Yes, Cotty, I often think of wine opening up in terms of a flower blossoming or blooming. So I think blooming is quite a good word to use to talk about how the wine's opening up. And I agree, it is opening up very nicely. Rob, yes, cooling the fruit. So when fruit comes in, when it's hot and we're hand picking, then it takes, a few hours to pick the fruit. Oh, hello, Cheryl. Yes, difficult year. Absolutely. Lovely to see you. Thank you for logging in. when you're hand picking on a hot day, even if you start very early in the morning, it takes a few hours. The fruit gets a bit warm. And if you then process it straight away, then with the, particularly because we're relying on natural yeast to do the ferments, often the ferments will start really quickly and we don't get that nice pre-fermentation maceration, which allows a little bit more colour and a little bit more of the water-soluble flavours to sort of seep into the juice from the skins before the ferment starts. So Rob, we have an area which is basically an old shipping container that we turned into a refrigeration unit, where the fruit goes from the vineyard, comes in, we weigh it, we put it in the cooler for 24 hours, and that gets it down to about 12 degrees centigrade across the, it's colder on the outside and warmer in the middle, but when you process the fruit, then it's about 12 degrees. And that just means that it takes a little bit longer for the for the must to warm up, and it needs to be a certain warmth before the yeast can take off. And again, remembering that one of the waste products of fermentation is heat. So once the fermentation starts, then it starts heating up as well. And if you start with quite warm fruit, the other problem is that as it ferments, then it builds up more heat because the ferment's creating heat. And we don't mind our Pinots getting up to maybe 30, 35 degrees centigrade, but if they get much hotter than that, in fact, we quite like them to get that hot because it brings out sort of brightness and perfumes that you don't get at cooler temperatures of fermentation. But if they get too hot, then they start tasting like cooked jam, and that's not what we're looking for. And I've noticed that Craig and Kay and Michael are all noticing a real brightness to this wine, and that's, I think, a real sort of testimony to decisions made by Richard and Jeremy about picking the grapes at the right time and making that happen really fast, so that we manage to retain the brightness and freshness of the fruit rather than it getting too ripe and too cooked. So there is a beautiful brightness and lift to it, and I think that often the Robinson just has sort of that lovely red cherry fruit character and maybe some floral notes. For me, this has got a concentration to it, which we don't often see. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a sniffle still. It was very scary last week. I was up in town teaching in South Melbourne, just around the corner from where one of the hotspots is, and I came home and woke up on Friday morning with all the symptoms: runny nose, sore throat, bit of a dry cough. And I went, okay, time for me to go and get a COVID test. So I went and got a COVID test, got my results back in less than 24 hours, no COVID for me, which is great. But I've had this horrible head cold all week, which has meant that I haven't been too sad about lockdown, because it means that I could just kind of keep myself to myself and sniffle and sneeze away without freaking everyone out. But I'm still a little bit snuffly. Craig, I think that the acid is it's not too high, but it's not too low either. So yes, Shell, I've been on the Armour Force all week. I'm a big believer in Armour Force. It's fantastic. So yes, it has been helping a lot. A little bit of Sudafed at the beginning as well, because it was all in my sinuses. Anyway, that's enough of that. Don't need to talk about that anymore. I think the nice thing about this wine is that, yes, it's not highly acidic. It's got enough crispness. It's got enough red fruit that it kind of settles really nicely. Hey, Jeremy's here. Would you like a glass of wine, Jeremy? There's a glass just there. Jeremy's here. He's got his mask on, so he can't breathe germs on me. Look at that. What a good boy. How are you going to drink your wine with your mask on?
Haven't worked that one out.
That's
you can put a hole in the straw.
Poor Jeremy and Nigel have both been juggling kids at home and wives that also are working full-time and working from home and not working from home and all that kind of thing. So Jeremy popped in this afternoon to do a little bit of winemaking when he could, and so he's still here, which is very nice to see him. Nice hoodie, Jeremy, Nina says. So, yes, Kay, I think it's very well balanced for such a young wine. I think it's quite forward. often the Robinson's a little bit closed and often looks a little bit straightforward, some people would say. Some people call it simple. I disagree. I think it's got a purity to it usually. This wine still has that purity, but it's got something really kind of appealing in its vibrancy and its crunchiness, and it's got almost there's that lovely red cherry fruit, but there's also a kind of a little bit of a lollipop kind of a concentration as well in the fruit. But then it's got this nice kind of, it's got this beautiful structure as well that's working really well. Yeah, I agree, Craig. This is far from simple, and usually it takes a little while for Robinson to kind of show its complexity. This one is complex and kind of layered very early on. Jeremy Cheryl says hello as well. He says hi back, Cheryl. That's enough of that. No more saying hello to Jeremy. He doesn't deserve it. If he won't come and talk on the thing, he doesn't get to be talked to. So, Emily, what does forward mean? That's a very good question. It means that the wine, as soon as you pour it into the glass, it's giving you lots of aromas, lots of flavour. It doesn't take a long while to open up. And I think that people have been commenting that this wine is opening up and changing quite quickly in the glass. And I think that's absolutely true. So it's not simple. And Craig, it might mean that it might not have quite as long a life, or it might just have a different evolutionary path than some of the other wines. I often find that these Robinson wines, when they're really young and when we release them, they have this kind of crunchy vibrancy. Then after about 6 to 12 months, they shut down a little bit and they don't look quite as interesting. And then a couple of 2 to 5 years later, they start looking really interesting again. So I really don't know how this wine's going to evolve, but I do think that a lot of people will drink this very young because it's so delicious right now. I think the other thing that hopefully all of you with your mushroom risottos and various mushroom flavoured things will find that this is an absolutely fabulous match to mushroomy food, because the wine's got that kind of vibrant, red, juicy, crunchy, but then also almost sort of a little bit of that sort of sweet shop kind of perfume to it. It's got that lovely kind of mouth-watering flavour to it, but the umami, and I think Shell mentioned before the umami in her fake bacon, but also the umami in the mushrooms really, really kind of work beautifully with the flavours of the wine, and it brings out a bit more savouriness in the wine, the food, and the food brings out, as well as bringing the savouriness out in the wine, it then also brings that kind of brightness and freshness out in the wine as well, which I think is it's kind of that really weird circular thing that whenever I talk to Italians, they say, but of course. But when you make really good wine that has good structure and good complexity, then it's always better with food, and it should make the food that you've matched it to taste better, and the food should make the wine taste better. And if you've done that, then you know, first of all, you're drinking a really lovely wine, and you've got your food and your wine matching sorted out correctly. And there's lots of different things that you can do food and wine matching. It's not just, you know, simple rules, but when they enhance the quality of each other and take both wines to a higher level, then I think big ticks all round. So I hope that the mushroomy food is doing that for you guys tonight. Emily, did I properly explain what forward means? I guess I mean it's just kind of it's quite flavoursome. It's got lots of aromas and lots of flavour, and it's not sort of it doesn't take a long time to show itself. So yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. We have lots of silly jargonistic words that we use in wine tasting that people go, what? And so often I talk to people who've been to wine tastings and they just go, I don't really understand any of the words that you use. You say, let's have a look at the wine, and then you put it in your mouth. I mean, you know, what are you talking about? And it is really very silly language that we get used to, and we don't even realise how silly it is sometimes. But hopefully it all kind of makes sense in the end. What else do I need to tell you about this wine? What do you think, Jeremy? How's it going for you?
Awesome.
Jeremy's giving me looks.
thinking about the forward thing. The forward thing I've always thought of is like a person thing.
Yeah.
People that are forward, they come up and tell you everything.
Straight away,
right in front, and, no holds barred. It's the same thing with wine. Everything is up front, tells you, a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's not hiding anything. I think that's a nice analogy. Thank you. I think the other thing that I'd like to say about this wine is, yes, Jeff, we've already commented on that. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks, Emily. Good. Yeah, absolutely. All the language that we use in this session is yours to take and use in other places in the world. Crunchy. I know. Yes. So, haha. An oversharer. Yes, yeah, Renee. Sometimes. Yeah. So, Michael, crunchy is also another silly word that I use often with wine that I think has got red fruit and nice acid balance. So it reminds me of fruit that, when you pick fruit from the tree and it's ripe, but it's not squishy yet. And so you bite into a plum or a cherry and it crunches against your teeth, and the flesh is still crunchy, but it's sweet and it's flavoursome, but it's red fruited. Whereas if you let it ripen more, then it would be more dark fruited, it would be juicier, and it would be kind of squishy and not have that crunch to it. So that's what I mean by crunchy when I talk about crunchy wine.
Opposite of jam.
Yeah.
So even though it's red fruited jam, it's just such a different flavour to fresh, vibrant, crunchy fruit.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you guys to it.
Thanks. Go relax. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, Jeff, you put mask on. Well done. So what else do I need to tell you about this one? So Robinson Pinot, as you know, this is all made just quick winemaking, made with about 15% new oak. Cherry pie. Yep. Could be good. Jeremy. Rob's asking, would you like to come back and answer a question from Rob? He has actually signed off, Rob, but, he's back.
I haven't cleaned up out there yet.
Rob has a question for you. Does your winemaking intention usually result in the end product? How often not?
Oh, that's hard. It's
a bit philosophical almost.
It is.
It's practical but also philosophical.
I think that sort of comes at me as if we've got the means of bending fruit and stuff like that. Usually we're just sort of encouraging it along the way. So usually we know what's going to come because of the fruit, not because of our winemaking, really.
I think
winemaking is almost more don't stuff it up than anything else. Yeah.
There are a lot of winemakers out there, Rob, who go, what can I do to make this fruit into the wine that I want it to be? And they've got lots of tools at their fingertips. But what we talk about a lot is trying to get the fruit right in the vineyard and pick it at the right time so that we don't have to do tricksy things to it to fix problems. We want it to sort of turn into wine as I was going to use that N word as easily as possible.
Yeah, I think that's but it's not always perfect either.
No.
That sounds utopian as well. In that, sometimes it does surprise us, and sometimes maybe it's not as good as we thought it was at first. We've had a couple of years where we thought weren't as good to begin with, and then it's proved us completely wrong. Richard and I have gone, wow, that didn't look like what it does now. That's amazing. So you don't ever work it all out. You don't think you'll ever understand it all, but very mysterious. Exactly, very mysterious indeed. One of the best words for winemaking, very mysterious.
And one of the things we love is finding out what the wine's going to taste like when you start, you pick it and you go, oh, that fruit looks quite good. I wonder what the wine will taste like. And you kind of taste it along the way and go, Sometimes it makes you happy all the time. Sometimes you go, oh, geez, what's going on here? And then it resolves.
Probably a point after vintage. Like you get an idea at vintage. You know you've got great fruit and you get something out of it there, so you can sort of say, yes, this is going to be great. But there's probably 5-6 weeks after vintage where you get to taste the wine when it's clarified, when it's on its way. It hasn't done its little elevation along maturation. But at that point, you kind of go, yeah, we got it. That's fine. That's going to be great. After that, you're smiles all the way. Just don't stuff it up.
Don't stuff it up. Exactly. That's going to be Shell's decided that's going to be on the hoodie. Don't stuff it up.
I reckon that's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm going to go now because I can't stuff it up. I've actually got wine that needs to be gassed.
Go do some cleaning,
now,
Jeremy. Go do some winemaking, for heaven's sakes. Thank you very much. So there's some very funny comments coming from you guys. Deb, it does sound a little bit like therapy. You're correct. And yes, natural winemaking can be just lazy. Although there are some lovely natural wines out there. There's a lot of really horrible natural wines out there as well. We like to talk about natural winemaking with a little bit of quality control, as you might have seen on our back label. And that's the quality control is the thing that we have control over in the vineyard as well as in the winery. So it's not just kind of fixing mistakes once they're in, it's just kind of keeping an eye on things and helping the fruit to be its best self. Absolutely, Zach and Jack. Alison, sometimes the tyranny of vintage can be more challenging. 2019, certainly, we had to work really hard to overcome the issue of that heat at the end of vineyard by getting that fruit in quickly and processing it and making it work. Yeah, what else do people say? Dark arts, absolutely, Kevin. There are a few dark arts, but mostly it's pretty simple. And Kay, I think that's, with machine picking. So Kay's just said that she heard recently from a winery regarding their machine picking. So there aren't any stems. So the wines are nice, but don't have as much complexity. And thank you for saying that makes you appreciate what we're doing. But you're right that sometimes you can make really good wine using a machine harvester, because machine harvesting has come a long way in recent times, and the modern machine harvesters work very, very well. But if you want to do anything with whole bunches, if you want to do anything with stalks, then it's really important to handpick. And also, I think for a wine of this quality, the fact that we handpick it and bring it into the winery and keep it from getting bashed around so that the fruit is unbruised and as perfect as possible before we start making it into wine and removing the juice and all of that kind of thing. I think we think that's quite important. We're not really sure, but anyway, that's what we do. You're right. Gosh, I'm missing a few things. Someone said that it was a bit lighter than usual, and I agree. It's a little bit lighter than usual. I think that's probably partly because of that warmer weather. Even though we cooled the fruit down, it probably that last little ripening period kind of went ahead in a spurt. So there was sort of maybe not as much development of colour in the skins. Not really sure. Duck arts, that's fantastic, Shell. We'll work on what's on. Pete, I hope you're taking notes for a hoodie. But yeah, I hope that all makes sense. I mean, it's in some ways it's so simple, but the simplicity of what we do in the winery is only possible because we work really hard in the vineyard and also work really hard in the with everything here, to keep things simple, to let that wine shine through. Michael, thank you so much. Michael's saying that we nailed the wine. Difficulty in 2019, absolutely. And I agree. I really love the fact that it's still opening up. It's still looking beautiful. The fruit's gorgeous, isn't it, Craig? Thank you so much, and Joan and Karen. Look, it's this wine is a little bit, we raced against the clock, we raced against the weather, and we won. So I think, that hard work, and it was an exhausting vintage. I've got to tell you, some vintages are easier than others, some are harder than others, because not only do we have to rush to get everything picked, and then we had to find somewhere to put it all. It was really hot weather while we were actually doing the winemaking, which is exhausting for the winemakers. So, all of those things come into play as well. And that's one of the great things about different vintages, different wines, and it's manual. A lot of it's just manual labor. So it's not that tricky. It's just you got to do the work. Yes. Hot and Manic, Jeff. That's right. I think that might have been your first vintage with us, in fact, 2019. Is that correct? It's got beautiful legs. And the violet is coming through now. And that when I talk about the lolly shop thing, there are these pastilles that they make in France that have got violet in them. They're sort of sugar candy with a little anise center, and they've got violet flavor to them. And it's got this beautiful perfume, but that little sweetness. And I think that this smell reminds me of that. And probably none of you know what I'm talking about. But if you have had those sweets before, then you'll remember them, because they're quite weird and quite different. I think that Duck Arts, yeah, nice. Lovely violet, lovely little rose petally things coming through, some more cherry, and I think it's just a wine that look at the smile on my face. The wine's made me happy. You guys have made me happy. This is why we do Drinks with Kate, and it doesn't just have to be for lockdowns, but gee, doesn't it make lockdown feel a little bit better to get together and have a little glass of wine together and have this chat? So we're getting to the over 40 minutes mark, and so I think I might finish up now. And let you guys kind of just relax into the evening. You've put your work away now, which is good. You've got your wine. Hopefully you've got a little bit more wine to go, a little bit more mushroom risotto or pizza or whatever you're having. I'm so glad that you guys are happy. It makes me very happy to have a chat with you guys. It's, reaching out, all that stuff. It's been lovely to talk to you. We'll still be in lockdown next Thursday night, Melburnians. We might be just finishing up, but next Thursday night we are going to do the Garden Vineyard Pinot Noir. So I don't think that's the next one on the list on the link, but Garden Vineyard Pinot Noir 2019 next week. It'll be awesome. I will send you guys a link, a list of some food suggestions. I'll see you all again next week. Have a lovely evening. Have an excellent week. Thank you so much. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you all here again next Thursday. Take care. Love yous all. Bye.